What is now Tropical Storm Henri making its way towards our area? Our Storm Watch team coverage continues. Starting to pick up from when we last checked in with Mary Lynn. Thank you. We'll be looking back to her in just a short while. But as we continue to track Henri, we're also taking a look at power outages and the potential for them all across our boroughs. Joining us now is Alfonso Quiroz with Con Edison. Thank you, Alfonso, so much for taking time on this hectic morning for you and your crews, I'm sure.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. We are already seeing some outages being reported, specifically seeing some reports out of Brooklyn. What's the status with those right now? Do you have crews already out there working to get those fixed?
We do have a handful of outages really scattered throughout the city and Brooklyn right now, but we are watching the storm as it is barreling up the coast. We have called in about 15 aid crews nation as far away as Louisiana and Texas and even Canada. And what those crews are doing right now is that they're on standby, waiting for the storm to pass. Once the storm will pass, then we'll be able to deploy them out to really tackle those outages. We can't send crews out in the middle of a storm, so that's why we have to wait for the end of the storm to come.
Absolutely. So obviously a lot of crews standing by, prepared and waiting really to see what Henri brings our way. At this point, obviously it's still brewing. It hasn't made landfall quite yet. But how widespread do you anticipate that outages could be here in the city?
We're taking this very seriously. I mean, you have to remember that late last night there was a very heavy rainstorm, and what that will do is that really softens the soil and it gets very moist. So a gust of wind can easily topple over a tree or crack a branch, which can take out an overhead wires, which can cause an outage. So we're taking this very, very seriously, and we're reminding New Yorkers right now to download the Con Edison app so that they can get in touch with us should they lose power. They could also call us at 1-800-75-CON-ED. More importantly, it's really, really, it's important that people remember that if they see any down power lines, that they stay away from them. You should always consider them to be live and dangerous. So stay away from them, call 911 or call us at 1-800-75-CON-ED should you see any down power lines or have any power problems.
Yeah, definitely good things to keep in mind in the hours to come. Are there any areas in the city, I'm thinking particularly for our viewers in the Bronx and Brooklyn, that are at more risk of seeing outages in the conditions that we're anticipating with Henri?
Well, those two areas have sort of a mixed electrical, so they both have some overhead and some underground. Normally with a storm like this, you'll have a wind event, and that really will affect customers that have overhead wires. But this storm is a little bit different. So we're expecting this not only to be a wind event, but we're also expecting there to be a lot of flooding. So that can really affect our customers that are served by overhead wires and by underground wires. So this is going to really affect a lot of customers throughout Brooklyn and the Bronx.
And Alfonso, real quick, any idea on just how long these potential outages could last? And is there anything that we could do to help speed up the process and the cleanup process if affected?
Well, it's hard to tell at this point, but obviously some of these can take a while. When an outage, should an outage occur, what happens is that, number one, we have to wait for the storm to pass. Then what we'll do is we'll send out storm assessors, and they will go out and they'll look for pieces of equipment that serve the majority of customers who are out, and then they work their way down from there. So while we do get large clusters back up pretty quickly, there will always be that home or that apartment building that is last on the list. So those people will have to wait a little bit longer. But that's getting ahead of ourselves right now. Right now, we're just watching the storm carefully. We have crews on the ready to respond should any power outages occur. And we're just reminding people to be prepared, download the Con Edison app, get in touch with us if you lose any power, and be sure to stay away from any down power lines.
Everything that is so important for us to keep on the minds right now. Alfonso Quiroz, thank you so much with Con Edison, to your crews and you as well. Please stay safe out there.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.